talk here. And my guest this segment is Rayla Campbell. Rayla is a candidate for the U.S. House of Representatives right here in my own district, District 5 of Massachusetts. Rayla, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Charles. I'm actually in District 7.
District 7, thank you very much. Now, District 7 really runs right through most of the city of Boston, where I live, and then a little bit south into Randolph and a bit north into parts of Cambridge and Somerville. Is that right?
That is correct. All the way from Randolph up to Chelsea, Somerville, Cambridge, all through Boston, Mission Hill, Dorchester, Mattapan, so parts of Milton as well.
Good. So you know your district.
I do.
Now, Rayla, you are running as a Republican, and you're running against Ayanna Pressley, who is a freshman congresswoman. This is her first term. She has been very well associated nationally with the so-called Squad. And in that capacity, she's gotten a lot of national notoriety as being a person on the left. And I think that because she has gotten such national attention, you very well could become a national figure yourself as her Republican opponent.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I don't play identity politics. You know, has a victim mentality. Her concepts and for conservative people and the people of Massachusetts basically are just completely way far left. She looks at us as we're xenophobes and racists and white supremacists. And I don't know if you look at me, but I'm African American.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's that's like, the icing on the cake here, because you're not going to have to face those kinds of accusations. If I had run against her, I would have probably. So here you are running against this figure that is emerging as someone on the left and who's getting national publicity. And I think that if you got in touch with Republicans on the national level, they would give you some attention. Have you reached out to the Republican National Committee?
I have. I've been in contact with people in Washington, and, we're building our base. I'm a grassroots campaign. So it's all about, making the connections, slow process to get to the right people, filtering through, making sure that I'm legit. I am.
No, you've got a solid background. You've got, you're a success story. I guess that, what is it like for you to do outreach to the African American community? Are they being receptive to your candidacy?
Definitely are. I come from the city. My family originally, my roots go back in Mattapan, Dorchester, Mission Hill. So we have a lot of roots still in the city. My grandmother still lives in Mattapan. So when I go to the city, I'm very welcomed. People have been very receptive. Yesterday, I decided to go out and be part of the Rosary down in.
Mm-hmm. All right, we're having a little technical problem here. There you are.
I was like, what just happened?
I don't know. It must have been the Democrats. Anyways, so you.
They were trying to bombard us.
Who knows? So it sounds to me like you are making the connections, because I think that in a congressional race, you can still win by going door to door and by going to all of the little events and really meeting people face to face, eye to eye, shaking hands. Although not right now because of COVID, of course, but putting that aside, making the connections as best you can in this environment. And I have a feeling that if you do that, Rayla, you're going to have a big step over Ayanna, who doesn't do that. She's generally in Washington. She hasn't come. You haven't seen much of her since she was elected. She's not really paying all that much attention. And I'd point out to this recent victory by Gonzalez in California, relatively unknown, won a special election in a Democratic district in a very liberal Democratic state and won it handily. I mean, it wasn't even like close. I mean, it was, by 6-7 points. And he did it because he spent a good year of his time just going to every single person he could reach, and trying to put aside the time to meet everyone in the district. And so I think that with especially with the congressional race, because you're not going to get any favors from the Boston Globe or, you just don't worry about them. I mean, you need to actually go down there because they can't stop you. If you go down there, you go to the Republican town committee meetings, you set up your organization so that you have supporters in each of these areas who are going to do things like, make phone calls for you and put up signs and bumper stickers and whatnot. And you could do it on a shoestring. You don't even need a lot of money. I mean, you could really make a lot of inroads that way and build a real solid support.
Yes, definitely. Facebook has been really helpful for me getting off and up and running. Been reaching out through different groups and meeting with people and going out into the community and spreading my name, just meeting and greeting, seeing people right out there. I'm not afraid to go out and talk to people. I'm not afraid to go into the city. I want to be here for my people. I want everybody to be able to talk to me whenever they want, anytime that they have a problem. My place is here with the people of Massachusetts.
And I think that says a lot because if you're elected to Congress, you're going to be, you're going to be there really to serve the people, not to try to do like what Ayanna's doing, which is try to have a big political agenda and promote yourself in the broad sense, and try to advance. I mean, you're there to do the work you're elected to do, and that says a lot. Now,
definitely.
I think that maybe this is my own projections here, but I think that the Republicans are going to have a big win in November, partially because of the way the left has handled the COVID-19 shutdown. I think that they've really misfired in a lot of ways. There are big questions about how this could have been handled differently. And, and they want to keep prolonging this. Although here in Massachusetts, we seem to have, we're a little bit more liberal in the real sense than some other states like maybe New York, in that we are reopening, and that's a good thing, with care. And of course, we all have to be careful. Nobody wants to catch this terrible disease. I don't. I'm not exactly running around either. It's a horrible disease. So be careful. But at the same time, people are starting to get back to work, and they're starting to build up a little confidence and going out. So I think that it brings up the possibility that liberal Democrats are trying to drag their feet a little bit here because they want to hurt the economy so that they can hurt Trump. Now, I'm sorry to have to say that, but I've heard this from enough people.
It is true. 100% true. They want to keep us prisoners in our own home while releasing prisoners from jail right onto our streets.
Oh, I know, Riley. That's right.
Terrible.
You can't go to church, but you can go to Planned Parenthood. Putting that aside, we could make different parallels. What are some of the principles that you will bring to your office if you're elected to the U.S. House?
Well, if I'm elected, what I mainly want to bring is jobs and wealth and health back to our community. For us in here, we've pretty much been marginalized by her. She wants to spread all this divisive racial profiling and identity politics, and it's absolutely not who we are as a community. We go to church together, our kids go to school together. We are the most diverse community in probably the entire country with how many different backgrounds we have. And so for us, it's really about bringing community back together and rising us up and not tearing us down and pitting us against each other, bringing back jobs, bringing back innovation, making stuff here in Massachusetts like we used to. We used to my town with a huge manufacturing for sneakers, and we don't even have anything right now. It's been completely depleted. So people are traveling far distances, working multiple jobs. And if we bring stuff back here, it'll raise the community up and build people's self-esteem up. And the same thing with bringing schools and trade schools into the city. They should be able to have a Porter and Chester like I went to right there where they can have that opportunity to go into a trade and have it covered. and not be worried about, am I going to have a job, or how am I going to pay for 4 years of college of something I don't want to do. Electricians, they can be right there making their own money, making their own schedule. It's an incredible thing that we can do here in Massachusetts. And it's really important that we start lifting up our people instead of tearing them down or always constantly telling them that they can't do something.
You know, you sound a lot like President Trump. I don't want to make you say that you support him. I won't ask. But, oh, you do? Okay.
He is, he has done so much for the African American community. And that's what people really need to see. Like, they call him a racist and this and that. But we had a president for 8 years. What did he do for the African Americans? He let Baltimore burn itself. That's what he did.
Right. And now he's, as he was leaving office, he said, there's no way that our economy will ever bring jobs back, will ever bring manufacturing back, and that the fact that Trump had said that was nonsense. And he's done it. And now you had putting aside the virus, you had a reduction of unemployment at unprecedented levels. You had an increase in the national domestic product by 3%. And you had a high level of African-American employment, the highest ever recorded. And I think that my fellow black citizens are responding to that. I mean, I think that polls show that President Trump is getting a lot more support than liberals want to admit, and that must be driving them crazy.
Oh, yeah, completely. And he's doing so much for us, and it needs to be appreciated and respected. And why aren't the other African-American leaders coming in and saying, thank you? Thank you, President Trump. You're doing what the first step back, you're doing stuff that we wanted. But no, what are they doing? They're calling him names or putting him down and calling his supporters all sorts of different names. What is that doing for the country besides trying to sow division when these are their communities? I don't understand how African-American leaders can go back to their communities and see how depleted and how poor and just the drugs are overridden and depressed the people are, and just leave them there and go back to their mansions. To me, it's sickening. It's so sick. And then they call themselves people of faith. Well, that is not what my faith, which is Catholic, teaches us.
Sounds a lot. I mean, you're describing like a Maxine Waters, or is that right? Really negative toward Trump, but yet goes back to her mansion and her husband, who has got a big banking contract by one of your predecessors, that being Barney Frank. But putting that one aside, that's old news. You have a black leadership, and I'm speaking to you as a Jew who has the same problems with Jewish people. I mean, our leadership is way out on the left. They're all part of this sort of calcified establishment. They're not really thinking about the best interests of their fellow, religionists. And yet I think even in Judaism, there's a movement to support Trump, and that's we're even further left than black people are. So, and I get more people speaking quietly to me than you probably do. But there is something afoot. There is a movement of people recognizing not only their own self-interest in terms of what the government is doing that actually helps them, but their interest in the country. We're all patriots. We're all in the same boat. Do we really want to have a future that has where we have secured borders and we've got low taxes and low regulations so people can get into some business and start to develop, a livelihood? I mean, or don't we? I mean, it comes down to some of the old, most simple issues. The price of hamburger, as former Governor Sargent used to say.
Yes, and Jared Kushner and Lee Zeldin have done amazing things working with the president and Benjamin Netanyahu, and just everything that they've been doing for Israel and the people of Israel, and uniting together and protecting the Jewish people and the Jewish Americans. There's been a lot of anti-Semitism rising back up, and we've got to squash that immediately. I'm not one that's going to deal with that ever.
But excellent. And I think that unfortunately a lot of Jews miss that, but you're right, of course. And the United States is now asserting its sovereign position in the world, which is a normal and natural thing to do, and any nation should do it. We're putting our own trade interests, the interests of workers and labor and American industry before foreign businesses. And in every sense, they're asking foreign countries to pay for their own share in NATO and in the UN. All of these things are stuff that nobody ever thought would happen, but it is happening under Trump. So if you're elected, you're going to bring that legacy to Washington. You're going to support that, I get the sense.
Yes, 100%. And I'm going to bring back jobs here to Massachusetts like we want, like we need. As soon as we're ready to reopen again, which we are, the opportunity zones that we have, especially in our district, we're going to go full force at them. Let's just do this for our people. It's our American dream. We should be able to have it, not be controlled by the Democrats telling us when we can have it, how we can have it. That's not going to happen. It's time for us to stand up, put our boots on the ground, get out there and fight for what is right. And that is freedom, liberty, democracy, the rule of law.
I am looking forward to seeing you debate Congresswoman Presley. Has she agreed to a debate?
I haven't heard anything from them as of yet.
You've got to challenge them. Send the Boston Globe a note saying that you want a debate. And start, seriously, because you'll be great debating her. I mean, it'll be amazing, and it'll get a lot of view and a lot of attention. And I just think that you have to kind of, even the liberal papers will go along with that. I mean, if you make an issue out of it, it's kind of a basic that the incumbent is supposed to and has to debate their opponent. So I hope you start to make a little rancor about that, and you want to debate your opponent, toe to toe, presenting ideas, and really start to take her on. I mean, she voted, for example, against a bill, just to get into a quick thing here, which I think she should have to explain, that provided $3.5 billion for illegal aliens coming into this country. I mean, there was a big outcry about how inhumane they were being treated at the border, and that there were the family separations. And so Congress put together this bill that had bipartisan support to and was signed immediately by President Trump. She voted against that. I want to know why.
She wanted more money for illegals.
Well, we're talking $3.5 billion here, and if Congress had done what she was doing, those people would still be suffering. I mean, you heard the issue kind of went away after that. There was that's a lot of money, and there was enough to alleviate much of this problem, but yet she voted against it. I want to hear from her why she voted against that, because if she had been successful, people, children would have been in squalid conditions. They would have died. And I think she has to be held accountable. I also want to know why she voted to impeach Trump. Don't take that for granted. She has to explain exactly what she thinks he did to warrant impeachment. It was a terrible scam. And, those every congresswoman and woman who voted for that should be called on that. I hope you do.
And what about the resolution on Kavanaugh?
Well, all of a sudden now, I don't know about, you might ask her what her position is on Joe Biden's, on the sexual harassment charges. I mean, we already seen Elizabeth Warren, who was sending fundraising letters out attacking Kavanaugh, and who attacked, the former New York mayor, what's his name, Bloomberg, for having made an insulting comment to a woman. Now, all of a sudden, she's saying she thinks that the Biden is credible and the accusations against him are false. So, yeah, that's a good one. Bring that up. What is her position on Biden and those accusations? Make her answer it.
I would like an answer to that myself. It's been nothing but we're sitting here, we're waiting. I've been calling it out on Facebook, like, hello, is anybody going to say anything about this? I mean, what happened to believing all of the people, believing all victims? I guess she's not the right type of victim.
I think that about describes it. Now, Rayla, do you have a press person working with you, somebody who's putting together, press releases and reaching out to the media? Because you should.
Right now, I'm just in the works of getting everybody into positions and places.
Okay.
I've got a lot of things going on, a lot of people trying to contact me. So, I just want to make sure that I'm working with the right groups and working with the right
Well,
people.
be very careful. Be very
Yes.
careful. However, you're very bright and you're very articulate, and I think and you look and you're very easy on the eyes, if I may say. And I would suggest that if you get the right press people to get you into the Globe and to get you into the media, you'll do very well. But you got to kind of know how to connect with them, and sometimes having somebody who has a background in that is a good way to go. So I hope that you can do that. I know that it takes a little money to do it, frankly. You have fundraising issues. Part of running for Congress is raising funds. And I can tell you, I think because you are who you are and because you're running against who you're running against, you could put together a good piece, a good argument for funds. And a good outreach to moderate Republicans, conservative Republicans, even some Democrats who don't really like her.
Yes, definitely. We're reaching out to independents, Republicans, walkaways.
Yeah.
We have Facebook pages up, and also my website is up, RaylaForCongress.com. So we're using WinRed. You can donate right there through the portal. It's the last drop down on the menu. So it's really exciting. We're reaching out to everybody. We've got a good base going. So I'm getting out there, meeting the people. And the main thing is being face to face and talking to people and listening to what people want and what they believe in, and being that voice for everyone, not just for the marginalized few.
Excellent. And also Candace Owens. I don't know if you know who she is, but
I do.
The Blexit movement, right? the Blaxit movement. She's doing
I've always did, so.
Yeah, and maybe see if you could get her to interview you. It would be amazing. I think you'd do very well.
People, so we're in contact. So we're working on some things in the background. Good. And we're just really excited about it.
All right. Well, Rayla, listen, let's stay in touch. I'd like to check in with you from time to time as things progress. And again, let my viewers and listeners know where they can reach you and how they can get involved.
Yes, they can go right to my Facebook page. It's Rayla for Congress. And then you can also check me out also on the web. It's RaylaForCongress.com. It's RaylaFor Congress.com. And the same thing at Rayla for Congress on Facebook and on Twitter at Rayla for Congress. Just started the Twitter, so we're getting up and running on that.
Oh, it's very key. The other thing I might, since you're very social, you're very savvy with social media, Boston Neighborhood Network, BNN. They'll give you a TV show, or you could get interviewed on one of their shows. That's seen by just about every household in Boston. It's a great asset. I used to have a show. I used to have a show there, and they're very, very good.
Oh, thank you so much. I didn't even know about that.
Yep.
BNN,
Boston Neighborhood Network. Check it out. All right, Rayla. Listen, I want to thank you for joining me this afternoon, and very good luck to you. And I hope you do very well. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, and we'll be in touch.
You bet. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.